Hello, everybody. I'm Rosana Mello from IEPIS, and I'm here with Bex. And today we are going to talk about a subject that will, I think, resonate with you quite a lot, is about how to make friends in New Zealand. So welcome, Bex, once again.
Thanks, Rosanna. Good to be here.
So, talk about making friends is funny, eh? Because they are going on a work and travel experience, and of course they want to meet people, and it's part of the journey, right? How do you see that?
Yeah, it is. It's part of the journey, and I think what's different when you're on a working holiday visa is you are stopping for longer in places. Sometimes you might spend the whole 12 months in one place, or 10 or 11 months. So it's different to, say, doing a 3-month tour of Europe where you're traveling and staying in backpacker hostels or campgrounds every night. So you're constantly meeting new people, or you might be on a bus tour together. But when you're on a working holiday, yeah, you're going to be stopping and staying in different places for longer. So it may feel like it can be harder to meet people and make friends, but actually there's lots of great ways that you can do it that are actually, well, I don't want to say easy. It's never that easy, just making friends, but when you've got a good attitude and you're in a good mood because you're traveling, it is easy to connect with other people who are doing the same. Yeah.
And how important do you think it is to make friends? Because, like, for me, it makes lots of difference, and I think I'm happier with friends, and I just like, I don't know, I like to do activities together. How important it is to you?
Really important. And actually, I just had an example on the weekend in Rotorua, because I went down with some friends, and none of them like mountain biking, but I love it. And I went to the mountain bike park on my own, but it was so busy because it was school holidays and there were so many people, and I just felt quite intimidated by myself. So I just actually didn't go. But if I had someone with me, it would have been totally different. We would have gone, right, let's go, and you go and find out where we have to go. I'll go and get the bikes off the car, and we'll do all that stuff together. So I think it's really important because it just makes it way more fun,
Yeah, totally. I'm with you. I also like to do things together. I've been trying to do stuff by myself, but it's lots more enjoyable, I think, if you have somebody to share. And I don't know, like you said, you get the bikes and it's just share the jobs and the fun and the conversations, right?
Yeah, and then it's someone later on you to say, it might come up on your Facebook feed, a memory a year later or 2 years later, and it's like, oh, remember when we did that? It was such a great day.
And what do you think, like, people should expect how New Zealanders are in terms of openness to make new friends?
I think they are open to making friends. A lot of New Zealanders, it's a real part of growing up in New Zealand to go on what we call an OE, so an overseas experience. And so as a young New Zealander, generally it might be after you've left school and maybe worked for a few years and saved some money, or maybe it's when you've finished university and then you go away after that. So we all tend to go overseas and live and work on a working holiday somewhere, or we go off and travel all around everywhere. So Kiwis that have done that are really open to meeting people from different countries, because, and I know a lot of foreigners in New Zealand have said, I can't believe how many places you Kiwis have all been to, because we do love to travel. So often they might say, oh, I'm from Brazil. I love Brazil. I went there in 2012 and we went to, Carnival and we did this. So Kiwis like that, which is a lot of Kiwis, I think are really open to meeting new people. As with anywhere, in a big city, it can be a little bit more daunting because people are busy. People are spending time commuting, going to their job.
Yeah, very good point there, because it's very different if you are in a big city or in a small city.
In big cities, it may be a bit different because people are so busy and sort of, you're not really,
Yeah,
spending time doing
I
that.
was
So
going to say that I felt that when I first went to New Zealand and I lived in Auckland. And I think they have their lives, and they go to work and come back home, and they don't have much time, or they stay in their own bubbles, like with their own friends, and so it's a bit harder. And mainly because it's not only New Zealand as well, it's like New Zealanders as well. It's just people from all over the world. And sometimes you may be thinking that they don't want to be your friends, but it's just the way they are a little bit different, or maybe, it's just like, for me, I'm really open, is the way we are here in Brazil. And then I see somebody and I will say, hi, how are you? And then if the person say, okay, I will think, oh, yeah, maybe he's in a bad mood, or maybe doesn't like me. And it's not usually the case. Maybe it's just culture, the way they are. They just say hi, or and they are not open like I'm used to. And like you said as well, big cities and small cities. When I moved down to Hamilton, that's not that far from Auckland, I could feel already the difference. And people, they had more time, and they used to spend time in a cafe and really talking to people, and they could invite you over for dinner, because I don't know, it's just a small city stuff look like somehow.
But I think it still can happen in Auckland, but you just have to, you maybe work a little bit harder at it, but it can all happen. And if you're there as a traveller, there's definitely ways to, to really make some friends and find some people interested in what you do. Sorry, my voice is going.
Yeah, that's okay. But I think you're right. Like, it can happen in Auckland, but I would say like more in suburb, not in the city where life is so busy and is so many people from everywhere, and might be easier to make friends in the small cities. That's what I think. Easier, because it's easier to find people and people have more time. So one of the things that work and travelers also want to feel actually is part of a community, right? When they are traveling, it's very hard, I would say, because they don't spend that much of time to feel part of a community. But how do you see that? Do you think that in any place they will feel like they are part of something?
I think it depends on the place and where they're staying within that town or city or small community. All of the good hostels around New Zealand and sort of campgrounds and places, especially the hostels, the backpacker hostels, have lots of social events, and they have someone, and that tends to be their job, to make sure that they get together with the people who are staying there to, get them together and find out what they're doing and how they're going, and if they want to all play cards together. Or I know the hostel that we work with our company up in Auckland, they have social events 4 or 5 nights a week, which is fantastic. In other smaller communities, they will have, potluck dinners. They'll have sports, fun sports days. I think farmers markets are always really good in a small place, because you can go and they literally, they grow their stuff and make their stuff, and they take it to those community events because they want to meet and interact with people. And some of those people are super interesting, which I think is really good as well. Someone I spoke to the other day said the first thing that they would do in any new place they go a lot often, and I know they do this in America a lot, but they do it in smaller parts of New Zealand as well, is that the local fire station, they'll always have community meals, and you can help volunteer and that kind of thing, and that's a way to meet the local community as well. So there's another really great thing to New Zealand, which is social sport. So we obviously have a lot of professional sport and, you know, all the big teams that do their stuff, but there's a real community-driven social sport network in all towns and cities. So if you like to do that, you know, you don't have to be good at all. You just have to want to go and play social soccer or social indoor netball. See, netball's a crazy game and lots of people won't even know what it is, but it's a game like basketball, but you don't bounce the ball. But there's lots of social leagues of all of those sorts of things. There's pub quizzes, yeah, local pubs generally always have a weekly pub quiz, yeah, and that you don't have to. You can go to that just on your own and sign up to go with the team. And in a smaller town, they'll be really friendly. You know, they'll be really happy to take someone from overseas who's going to have good knowledge.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea. And I think I can't think of anything else. The only thing that came to my mind while you were talking is the amount of time they spend in each city makes difference as well, right? Because I remember one girl that stayed in Hamilton, actually, where I was living, and she spent quite some time there, and she made loads of friends. She had friends not only from New Zealand, but from other parts of the world, and she met friends on her job and through her job, I think, when she started working. And then, like, you know how things goes, and then somebody introduced another person to her, and she was going they were going out together and meeting up in somebody's place before going out. So it was really fun, I think, for her, because she could enjoy all of this their life. She was actually part of it, and I think that's thing that she will take forever with her, this friendship that she made during her trip. And
I think Kiwis and young travelers as well, they're all very inclusive. So they'll invite you to a barbecue. You know, we're having a barbecue at our flat, you know, our shared house. Why don't you come? And when people ask you that in New Zealand, they really mean it. In other countries, it's cultural to say, oh, you should come, but they don't really mean it. So, but in New Zealand, they do. And they'll ask you to a barbecue, or oh, we're going to the pub on Friday, you should come with us. We're having pre-drinks at Rosanna's house, or having a house party. The more the merrier, you know. So the other thing that I think is part of our modern age, and here we are doing our Zoom online, but is apps. There's lots of apps. Obviously, there's apps for dating if you're wanting to find, you know, someone to fall in love with or whatever. But there's apps as well, and there's one called Meetup, which I know a lot of people use, and there's probably other versions of it now. And Meetup is great because it's for everything. You can meet up for coffee, meet up for music, so going to concerts, meet up for tennis or going to the beach or biking or anything, any kind of activity you can think of. You can just put on there, is anyone keen to meet up for? And then people on the app will come back and say, oh yeah, I love that, you know, we should go. And there'll be organized events and all that stuff.
And technology make things so easy, right? And it's funny because I've seen also these young participants meeting people through Facebook, Instagram. That is not actually app to meet people, but you end up doing it because if you are in a group on a Facebook group, for example, you have work holiday visa holders group, and then people are talking there, and then you end up, oh, I'm here, I'm in these cities, and the other person, oh, I'm here too. How about we go for hiking together? And then you start chatting, and WhatsApp groups as well. I've seen people just like they join a group to talk about New Zealand, and then they end up, oh, let's do this trip together. Let's go somewhere together. So technology helps a lot these days. And yeah, the only thing that some of these might limit the person to meet only people that are also in the same situation, in a work holiday visa, for example. You know, and then like you said, meetup might be a little bit broader. Once they type there, you can meet people from everywhere. And yeah, if I say I like bike, I can find you that like bike, and you're not Brazilian, you are New Zealander. So it's just yeah, it's a bit more open, and they might find people from different backgrounds and culture and really exchange experience, what is really cool. And
I think another way of people are staying for longer in a place. So say you get a job and you're going to stay for 3 or 4 months in that place. A really good thing to do is to move into a flat or shared house situation with other people, especially if you can get into one with some Kiwis, because or some locals, people who live there. And that's how you're going to meet people that live there as well. And that I know that people who have done that, when they've come on a working holiday, they take away a really great experience having lived within that community, as well.
Right. Yeah, and I think something that we didn't mention yet is about when people are arriving in New Zealand, and like first their attitude, they need to be open. Even in the hostel, when they first arrive, they will meet people, and they can make friends in their first day. Some people, they make friends in the plane, like on the plane coming to New Zealand. So it's just a matter of
everyone else is in the same situation that you are,
yeah, and it's just like they are feeling the same thing. They are also scared of the unknown, and like, oh, will I get a job or not? And you can discuss the places you want to visit and maybe get some tips, right? Because the person might like have researched something that you haven't. So it's like it's a very good experience to start practicing, actually making friends from the beginning, already in the hostel or where they're staying at first. It's just a good way to start. And
absolutely.
I think one of the questions that they might be thinking as well is like, isn't it dangerous to be meeting strangers? Like, oh, I meet people on an app, and how dangerous is it? And how careful do they need to be when meeting?
Well, I think with anything in life, you need to use common sense. And if you are, say you're a young person from Germany or the Netherlands or USA or Brazil, and you're going off to university, you're going to meet a whole lot of new people at university, and you don't know them. Are they dangerous? You don't know them, you don't know their background, but you tend to think that the other people that are going to be at your university, 99% of them are going to be great people. You might not be friends with all of them because sometimes you just don't get on with people. That's fine, but you click with that person. I think it's the same with apps. You need to be sensible, never giving out lots of personal details. Things like Meetup, they always meet in a public space. There's always someone who's in charge of the meetup. So they'll be greeting everyone to make sure everyone's good and safe and is okay and enjoying it. Obviously there's always stories about the dating apps that go all around the place. Oh, it's terrible, you're meeting these people, but you're also probably going to go and have some beers in a bar at some stage on your working holiday and meet someone you've never met before and chat to them, and you might really like them and become friends with them. So was that dangerous? No, that's another way to meet somebody that you never knew. I think it's just a convenient way to connect with people, but it doesn't. What's dangerous is if you give someone your address and your all your details and your bank account details, and or put yourself in a really vulnerable situation, but you know.
I think that's the key. If they put themselves in a vulnerable situation, because you can do it if you maybe if I know you and you invite me for a trip, but I've just met you and I'm going to get inside the car with you and go like I don't know for a 4 hours trip. You don't know where you're going. You don't know the land. So if they go to a different direction, you won't know. And then I think this is something that people should be careful, because I know New Zealand is really safe. It is safe, but we need to do our part, right? We just need to be open, of course, but not silly. Not silly. Just get to know the person before. And sometimes, yes, you meet people and you connect and, oh my gosh, this person is really nice. But I think you should know a little bit more if you want to like invite to your house or go for a trip together. It's just like unless the person is in the same situation as you are, backpacking and has no house, and then you're just going to do something together. You can feel as well if you can kind of
you learn to judge. You learn to be, judge whether they're a good person or not. But I think the perception is that New Zealand is this really safe country, and I think compared to other places it is, but people can't be complacent. They need to have some good systems in place. If you are going off to something, maybe you're feeling a little bit nervous about it, but you can just say, okay, well, I'm going to go, I'm going to stay for half an hour. If I'm feeling okay, I'll stay longer. If not, I'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, I've completely forgotten. I need to be back at the hostel to meet someone about buying a car, so I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go.
Very good advice, Bex. Very good advice. Because sometimes we are in a situation already and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm not feeling okay here. And it's okay to not feel okay and just leave.
That's totally fine. And lots of you hear lots of stories, and I've had friends and so on do it, where you are the person that to call them at 7:30 because they're starting a blind date at 7 o'clock, and you're the person that's going to call them to check in and make sure everything's okay. And they'll be like, no, I'm fine, he's okay, I don't think he's an axe murderer, So it's just always just have an out.
So Bex, just to finalize, one last thing that I think could be very important for people. Which sort of tips would you give to somebody that wants to make friends in New Zealand during their work and travel experience?
I think just be really open. The great thing about traveling is you're going to meet all sorts of different people. They don't need to be your best friend. You don't need to be Facebook friends with all of them as well. But just be open. But also say hello to people. Get off your phone, People are like this all the time now. Look someone in the eye and have a great conversation. I think some of the best, deepest, most interesting conversations I've had have been when I've been in another country and people are open to talking, and some of my best friends are from traveling. So,
I'm just thinking here, camping in New Zealand is also another great way to make friends, right? And I'm just thinking, like, go and wash your dishes in the kitchen. And then like I made friends like that. While you're cooking and washing your dishes, you're just talking and what you're cooking is really is smelling good. It's just silly ways. And when you say be open, is be open everywhere you are.
Be open everywhere, but be open but sensible. So always be open and up for anything. A great opportunity, but always just have that sensible, especially if you are someone who's traveling on their own, just always have that there, like, oh, I think this person's a good person. Maybe we'll just wait a couple of days before I say yes to that trip. And you hang out for a couple more days and you're like, oh my gosh, they're great. Yeah, let's do it,
Good. Good. We always have to think about this side as well, right? Not just like, oh my gosh, I really want to go and it's going to be great, but yeah, you need to think of yourself and your safety. So it's important to make sure your feelings are right, and then you can go. I think that's it. Is there anything else that you want to say for people that wants to come and make friends?
No, I just think you'll have a great time and you will meet great people. So yeah, that's something you should do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I see you guys in New Zealand, and who knows, maybe we will be your friend when you come.
Oh, please come and be your friend. Yeah.
Okay. See you guys in the next video. Bye. Bye, Beck.
Bye bye.